I'm going to try out a new technique today that I think is going to give me some good texture. Really, I've been really working and wanting to make a lot of, create a lot of texture on a wine glass. There are loads of videos out there using cling wrap in coasters to create kind of a velvety effect. There's loads of videos on creating different textures, but it's all on a flat surface. And I'm really wanting to create texture and different patterns on a round, a round surface, a wine glass. This is my kind of my bread and butter at art shows. And so I'm really wanting to focus on wine glasses and creating that different texture. So I have never used the cling wrap method on a coaster or, any flat surface. So I'm going to try it on a wine glass, and I really do think it'll work. Now, I have used the cling wrap method with alcohol ink. I did a video a while back, and I'll see if I can find it, and I know I can find it. I'll link to it in the description below. But I used the cling wrap with alcohol ink. It created a really neat pattern on the glass, but I want to create texture. And so I think I can do this with resin on the glass and cling wrap. So that is what I'm doing today. So you need a clean wine glass, some resin, and plastic wrap. Are just wine glasses from Dollar Tree. This is a Dollar Tree pool noodle. Cut a piece and then cut another piece in half lengthwise, and that is going to allow you to make any glass at all fit on your turner. Now, I don't clean my glasses until after I've put them on the turner arm like that, because you're going to get loads and loads of fingerprints and all kinds of things on your wine glass. These are dirty anyway. These are from Dollar Tree. And now my cup turner is it's really not that old, but they don't offer the quad model anymore. This is from a company called King Bass, BAAS, and they offer, if you click the link in my older videos, it goes to their 2-arm model. So this is a 4-arm model, and now they only have the 2-arm model. I don't know if they're going to offer the 4-arm again, but I think there's another company that has a 4-arm model for about the same price. But what I like about this one is it's just so well made. It's a metal base. It's not a plastic base. It's really strong. It works really well. This is my second one. And I just really, really love it. So I'm going to go ahead and mix up my resin. Actually, no, I'm going to clean my glasses. Nice thing about using the pool noodles on the turner arm is, it's tight on there. Like when the turner arm is spinning, it's not going to be, the pool noodle holds the glass on there tight. But if for whatever reason you need to, um, turn it by hand, it's loose enough on the arm where you can do that. So every once in a while, if I'm working on one side of the glass and then I need to pop over to the other side of the glass to do something like blow out a wave, I can do that. And so you can really manipulate the resin really easily just by doing this. Okay. So, okay. So I'm gonna turn that off and mix up some resin. Whenever I'm working with glasses, I try to use a fast set resin. So I'm going to use the Let's Resin Fast Cure. And I'm going to use my Let's Resin mini mixer too. Hope the battery lasts long enough. I'm going to set this aside. That's the nice thing about using a mini mixer, is that it's hands-free and I can go on to other things. Let's Resin sent me a set of their opaque resin pigments to try. This is 18 colors. I just really like using these pigments. And oh my gosh, y'all, look at these colors. These are delicious. Uh, oh, these are absolutely adorable. Oh, look at this green. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm looking for something. I think on these glasses, ooh, that black is nice. I want to, I think I'm going to use this blue. This looks like a really good blue. You got to shake it up. Oh, that green. Oh man, this is a light blue. So I think I'm going to go with this blue. Look at these. This one doesn't have a label. How odd. It must have just fallen off. This is kind of like, it looks like a sea foam maybe. Man, I am going to have fun with these. This apple green. Okay, look at these together. How delicious is that? All right, so I'm going to go with the blue because I'm going to tint my resin. Okay. Off my paddle here. Because if you take care of your paddle, it's going to take care of you. And then I'm going to take a spritz of alcohol. On the paddle, clean paper towel, and then I'm going to wipe it off. And that just cleans it, and then it's ready to be used again. All right, so I don't need that much for my glasses for this technique. Really only 20 milliliters. And this is a 100 milliliter cup. I've mixed up 100 milliliters, but I really only need 10 milliliters. I need a really, really thin layer. I'm just going to pour 20 in here. This is a really nice, thick, high viscosity resin. It's super thick, and I love it for glasses. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Oh, almost messed up, y'all. Almost broke my rule. Pour it back in here. Oh, and I'm going to show you why. This is just a popsicle stick, big popsicle stick that I've used over and over. Just wipe it clean. Whenever, I almost forgot, whenever I use the mini mixer, no matter what quantity, I'm always going to stir it again by hand, just scraping the edges. I've just made this a good practice just to make sure everything has been mixed in. Not that the mini mixer does a bad job. It's just like when you're baking and you scrape the edges of your bowl to mix everything in. That's basically what I'm doing. Just a quick swipe, and then just wipe off my stick. Actually, I don't need to because I'm going to be mixing in my pigment. Okay. So let's just give us, it should be about 20. Maybe a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay. And then this pigment, you want to shake it well. Shake, 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 shake. See how it's, the color is wanting to settle to the bottom. So you want to shake it really, really well. That should be good. And let's just try one drop. I want to see what one drop does. It's a nice blue color, but add 4 more. No, I added 3 more, so 4 total. Yes, this is what I want. And now let's go over to my glasses. I am going to tape the top because I'm going to be, I don't normally resin all the way to the top, but I am this time. I should have done this without gloves, but okay, this is not going to. Okay, and the reason I want to tape is I'm resining all the way to the top. I really want that to be squished in a little bit more. I'm going to use this wide painter's tape, I think. Let me try something. And this is going to help to keep the resin off of the pool noodle. Because the resin is going to stick to that pool noodle, and I don't want that, because if I have to pull resin off of the pool noodle, it might pull it off of the glass. So what I am going to be doing is resining to the top. I don't normally do that, but I'm planning on a top coat anyway. So I want my whole glass to be covered this time. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to have to mix a little bit more in my cup because 10 milliliters is not enough for this bad boy. So I'm going to go ahead and just pour, I think, do 40. So it's going to be 10 per glass. Let's give us get 4 more drops. So that's 8 drops total, and that is a nice, nice color, y'all. And so I'm giving it a nice skim. It's not really a skim coat. It's a little bit more than a skim coat, honestly. That's pretty. A little bit more baby blue than what I wanted. It's not as dark as I wanted, but this is going to be fine. I'm normally not a 2-layer resin person, because the more resin you use, that cuts into your profit, but it's worth it for this. Okay, let's wipe off my hands so I don't make a mess. Okay, now I'm going to take a piece of plastic wrap, and I'm going to leave my gloves on because I'm going to make a mess. I really am very nervous about doing this, but this is not an exact thing. I'm just gonna try not to make a mess. Just like that. on the wet resin. Okay. You want the wrinkles. You want wrinkles. You want crinklies and wrinklies. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it. So I think that I needed to squish this down a little bit more. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Really smoosh it down there. My hand, I don't have my gloves on, but I'm not touching resin, so it's fine. But I think that will be much better. Okay, we'll wait. All right, I am a little bit nervous. I think these are cured. It's been right at 7 hours, so it should be nice and cured, but I'm nervous about pulling this off because I think it's going to make a big mess. That's not bad. It looks like total chaos right now, but once I sand it, it will make much more sense. I'm gonna see if I could, let's see, this area right there. I wonder if that would work with the heat gun. Yeah, it just kind of melts all the little spare loose pieces of plastic. Kind of like when you melt hot glue gun strings. Take these outside and give them a good sand. This just looks like ice crystals. So pretty. I'm glad that I used the tape because I did get some of the resin once I put the plastic wrap on. The resin did seep over the edge just a little bit. So that's why I'm glad I put that tape, because the resin's going to pop off of the tape, but I would have damaged the resin, I think, if it had stuck to the pool noodle. So I've got some cleanup to do on these, and I'm just going to go out with some sandpaper and give these a nice smooth. I'm just going to smooth these out outside. Okay, I did take these outside and I sanded them with some, I think it was 80 grit sandpaper. I have all of the sharp edges sanded. Um, I want to leave the texture. I want it to be textured and raised. I want you to be able to feel it. And then I just took a little brush and just kind of, brushed all the dust off. Now, I don't know yet if I want to put mica powder on. And with this being my first time using this technique, I don't really think I want to do anything else to these. I think I just want to give that resin top coat and see what we have. And then with my next try, I'll maybe brush on some mica powder in the little, the little cracks. Now there are a couple places where when I applied the plastic wrap, it was a little too raised up, a little too bunched up. And so I did get a little bit of like little mountain action there. It's a little chunky in some spots, and I am going to have to work on the edge after I do the top coat. So let's do that. All right, And then I've mixed up 60 milliliters of the Let's Resin Fast Cure. All right, let's go with it. Because I am resining all the way to the top, remember? I don't normally do that, but that's why I have it taped off. Because I want the resin to go all the way to the top, but not underneath the glass. And I don't want it to hit on the pool noodle. This has such a lovely texture. It is like crystal. That's what it feels like. It feels a lot like a really multifaceted crystal. It's got a lot of texture. And so this is going to have a lot of possibilities. And the colors too, like the color, you could really, really get some pretty colors in here. You could really have fun with this, with the colors. Now my top coat is probably a lot heavier than what I would normally top coat, only because there's so much texture on these glasses. I want to make sure that I'm getting plenty on the glass. There's full coverage. And what I'm doing here, I'm turning it with my other hand. So the pool noodle itself is kind of loose on the turner arm. And so I'm able to really manipulate it manually. So I'm not turning the arm, I'm turning the pool noodle that's attached to the arm. And so what's nice about a top coat of resin is that when you sand, if you're having to sand your work, the sanding kind of takes away, well, it does, it takes away the shine of that resin. And so a top coat brings that shine back. You don't see any scratches. So I like this. I like this texture. It's almost like broken glass. But I see now the possibilities of adding some mica powder or something, long piece of dog hair there. Adding some sort of color to the clear areas. I gotta think about that. Maybe it's kind of a two-part effect. So I'm thinking maybe I put a base layer of color, let it cure, and then do another layer on top with the plastic wrap. And then that second layer, that is the velvet effect. I'm going to think about that. All right, going to let these turn for a couple hours. Might need to sand a little bit on the bottom. It just depends on where that resin goes, but this is having a lot of possibilities. I'm already anticipating my next move. Just dipped my hair in my coffee. Okay. I'm glad I put the tape because the resin did go over the lip, but I think I have a better way of doing this next time. If I resin all the way to the top, I could use a shorter pool noodle. This is still really chunky and textured, but it's not sharp. So you can feel and see the ridges, but none of them are sharp. You just feel the texture. So I'm really happy with that. It's a little lopsided. I'm gonna have to sand off the bottom just a little bit, and I'll probably do that on my belt sander rather than try to wear my arm out with this. But I'm gonna have to clean up the edge a little bit. There is a little bit of resin. So I'm just gonna take my X-Acto knife and just barely trim the rim. Okay, don't want to scratch anything on here. If you want, you can just run a quick little sand on the top, just like that. But the bottom is a little bit wonky, and so I will just sand this on the belt sander. I have a couple of rough spots. And I do have a couple of rough spots, so I probably will go ahead and sand those down individually. And then just leave that. I mean, I don't mind it being raised up around the lip. I mean, I have loads of coffee mugs that have really textured surfaces, even at the lip, you know, at the very top. So I'm just really lightly sanding. And I probably will get comments on needing to put yet another top coat, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not putting another top coat on. This barely is scratching. It's not even really scratching it. It's just taking off that lip. And it just, to me, it almost adds to the kind of the icy look to it. And I don't normally resin all the way to the top, but in this case I did because I wanted the whole glass to be, you know, I wanted the whole glass to be covered with this technique. So for incidental exposure, this resin is food safe. So when you're drinking it like that, your lip it is touching just a little bit on the edge, but it's not enough where somebody is going to poison themselves unless they're chewing on the glass, which they're not going to do. So for incidental exposure, it is food safe. There are tons of tumblers that are resined all the way to the top. So why not a wine glass? But I am going to smooth down that edge on my belt sander so I don't wear out my arm. Okay, this one, let's feel, I only have a few rough spots that I'll need to touch up, but let's get that edge first. Just the rough spots, anything that's just a little slightly too rough. Kind of like when you have a rough nail on your hand and you're just, I don't know, I bite my fingernails. I know that's a horrible habit, and my mom would roll over in her grave if she knew that I just announced that to the world. But that's kind of what I'm doing. Just taking off that rough little hangnail. Not trying to smooth it out completely because that's not what I want. I want this to be rough. Perfect. Maybe that. And there we go. So again, I will smooth out the bottom on my belt sander. I don't wear out my arm. And I'll get that later. All right. That is another technique that I am definitely going to be doing again, but a little bit differently. I think using the plastic wrap was just a little bit too thin and too loose. So I'm going to try using something a little bit thicker. Cellophane bag, maybe. It's got some new molds in, and they came in this cellophane bag, so maybe something a little bit thicker that's not going to bunch up so much. Because that's why I had so many rough, like really sharp rough edges. All right, if you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please do so now. So here are my glasses. Let me know what you think about this technique, and do you think I should try it again? I think I should. All right, make it a crafty day, friends. Bye.